One stage, 7 amazing musicians, 7 incredible performances. The moment is here. Welcome to the Soloist Semi-finals, a very different amateur classical music competition. Success is about taking chances. It's also about getting chances. The Cape Cod Symphony Orchestra created this regional competition to give talented musicians opportunities they might never find elsewhere. There were only a few rules. Musicians had to be amateurs, at least 10 years old, and live or study in New England. After that, talent trumps all. Ruth Hart, a vocalist from Boston.
Even to this day, we all still play, and one of our favorite traditions is at Christmas time to get together and bring out all our instruments and either sing 4-part harmony or play some instrumental, carols and things like that. So it's a huge part of my childhood and of my upbringing as well. I find that I am most inspired when I'm actually in the rehearsal room, when I am in the middle of staging scenes for an opera. To me, I've discovered that it's really the most creative and exciting part of my job as a singer.
Andrew Hayhurst, a cellist from Connecticut.
My two loves that I really am interested in and spend a lot of my time with are music, of course, and literature. Their purpose, I think, is for expression and for expressing what it is to be human.
So tell me a little bit about the piece you've chosen to compete with and why.
It's a beautiful lyrical melody, and what I love about playing it is trying to get as deeply as I can into these different feelings that come with each passage and with each melody and each section.
Luke Scott, a vocalist from Connecticut.
Ultimately, you have your technique and you have your skills and you have your influences and inspirations, but you're the instrument. Whatever your instrument is, you are that instrument. And so how you interpret that is going to sort of show your character, who you are as a person. I find that if I can take a risk, anything where I know that I'm actually pushing myself past my comfort zone, whether it be when I'm studying something or I'm trying to perform something, it will often make me grow in some way or do something I thought I couldn't do. And I guess that, to me, it inspires me to believe that I can do more.
Il resto lo dico, Giannuno lo sa. Il resto lo dico, Giannuno lo sa. Giannuno lo sa. Giannuno lo sa. Giannuno lo sa.
Taylin Im, a pianist from Rhode Island.
The daycare I was at actually had a adjacent piano studio, so I guess when I was little I always thought that everyone knew how to play the piano, and so I asked the teacher if I could learn the piano. She said I was too young, so she kind of put me aside, and she would give me these worksheets of just notes on staff paper and would tell me to name all the notes. And eventually when I turned around 4 and a half, she started giving me lessons. What I love about competitions is not exactly the competing aspect of, like, I guess competing with other artists, but just what competition brings out, which really pushes and drives me to not just settle for good enough on my performances and my music, but it drives me to a whole new level.
Monica Woods, a clarinetist from Brewster.
Here on the Cape, it's kind of easy to give into a prevailing notion that we are in the sticks, but I think it's just not true. So many wonderfully creative people are here, often in the woodwork. When I went to music boarding school in 5th grade, they asked me, oboe or clarinet? They only had one oboe, and I didn't want to be the only oboe player. I guess I was well trained under communism not to stand out in the crowd. So I grabbed the clarinet and snuck back in line. This piece really pulls the clarinet into the romantic era in a really luscious way. The clarinet can really sing in this piece, and I feel that so can I when I'm really in the zone.
Tae Kim, a pianist from Boston.
We all definitely bring in a different kind of music making, and I think that's the beauty of it. And it's almost too bad and that there's only 8 of us, because I'm sure that all the contestants who entered were like beautiful in their own ways, and I'm just fortunate to be up here. My mom actually said to me, "Oh, you should learn how to play the violin." And I'm kind of going, "Well, I guess I could play violin." In middle school, we had like a little string orchestra. I was in the back of the first violin section. Still had a tape on my violin just because I only learned it for 6 months. And next thing you know, every time I make a mistake, there's this conductor, who has a beer belly, but and pretty huge guy. And whenever I make a mistake, he just looks at my direction, and I'm squirming in my chair. So I'm like, "Mom, I don't want to play violin anymore." So I ended up, and then they had like a little audition for pianists to play with the string orchestra to kind of make them play together. And I auditioned for it, and I got the job.
Indu Wang, a pianist from Boston.
Every experience that I have, whether it's, making food or meeting people or hanging out with friends or watching movies or listening to music, all sorts of music, I can draw inspiration from everything, and I feel like that's very important, at least for me at this stage, is to constantly be inspired and constantly learn and experience new things. The main thing is that I'm going to have fun when I'm competing, and I hope that the audience can hear the honesty and the passion that I feel for the music, and also the fact that I'm really just all about having fun.
The search took almost a year. More than 60 hopefuls entered from across New England. You will meet our top 7. They come from different backgrounds. They live in different places. They have different reasons and motivations for entering. They have different dreams for the future. But they share one thing. They each want to win. The top 3 performers will have the rare opportunity to perform with the Cape Cod Symphony Orchestra at our final classics concert of the season in May. They'll also win substantial cash prizes, $3,500 for first place, $2,000 for second place, and $1,000 for third. Join me on Saturday, March 2nd for the Soloist Semi-finals. Your vote will help determine which 3 performers will move on to the finals. Listen closely, vote wisely. You will help discover the next classical star, the Soloist.